So you've decided to build a website. That's awesome and it's very exciting. But before you start, you need to actually plan your website out. You can't just jump in blind. You're going to make a lot of mistakes and have to do a lot of things 2 or 3 times. So let's actually plan our website out before we start building it. You need to remember that your website is the digital face of your business. People are going to be able to access this all the time, every day, no matter what you're doing, no matter where you are, whether you're working or not. It is going to be selling for you, right? You can make sales from your website at 2 a.m. on Tuesday night. That's awesome, but with great power comes great responsibility, right? It's important that you get your website right so that you're able to fully take advantage of those opportunities. So, first, let's be clear about what kind of website you want to build. There's a lot of different kinds of websites. There's brochure websites, which are purely informational. There's blogs where you're adding content, information, and talking and writing about some particular topic. There's e-commerce stores where you're selling products, whether they're physical or digital. There's forums where you're creating a platform for people to interact and chat with each other about a topic they're interested in. There's portfolios where you might be some kind of designer or creative person and you want to show your work to the world. There's also more advanced web applications that have some kind of interactivity built in. Think of things like Facebook or Twitter. Those are web applications. And there's all kinds of websites you could build, but this is a good starting point, and these are all kinds of websites that are possible with Wix, actually, even web applications. Once you know what kind of website you're building, you need to ask yourself a few questions to determine what direction to take things. So first off, why do you want or need a website? Not every business needs a website. Almost every business does. As a professional web designer, I kind of do think that every business needs a website. They almost definitely can't hurt if you have a good website. Actually, let me take that back. A bad website can really harm the credibility and respectability of your business. But why do you want a website? Who will be using the site? The site you build for a group of 85-year-old senior citizens who aren't very familiar with technology and just need to get some information quickly is a lot different than the kind of website you'd build for a 13-year-old who's really into Minecraft and is looking for entertainment. So your users will inform the look and the feel and the functionality of the site. Why would they choose my website, and by extension, your service or business? There's a lot out there. There's a lot of blogs, there's a lot of e-commerce stores. What makes you different? Why would people choose you over somebody else? How are they going to find it? What's your marketing plan? Just because you build a website doesn't mean that there's going to be thousands and millions of people flocking to it to hear from you and buy your products. They have to find it somehow, right? You have to lead them to your website. So you need to market, whether that's posting on social media or creating YouTube videos or running ads or working on search engine optimization. You need to decide ahead of time how you plan to help people find your website. What features will your website need? Does it need a forum? Does it need a blog? Does it need e-commerce? And depending on those features, how are people going to find them? Yeah, they'll find them from the menu, hopefully. But does there need to be a block on the homepage? How will people interact with your website and its features in a way that's easy for them? Will anyone else be involved in the site building process? Do you need to talk to a business partner about planning and strategy and content? Are you going to hire a designer? And if so, what information do you need to give the designer to make sure that they can do a good job? Additionally, what websites do you like? That'll help you get a good idea of the design and the functionality that you're trying to achieve. What do you like about them? What makes them attractive to you? Why do you want your website to look like theirs? What websites do you hate? If there's a website that you hate, identify what it is you don't like about that website so you can avoid incorporating that in your own. And in that vein, what's wrong with them? How much will this site cost me? There are absolutely going to be costs associated with creating a website. The hope is that the website returns you a lot more than it costs. A website is almost always an investment, and if it's a good website that does its job, it's going to be an excellent investment. You're going to get a huge return on your investment. So, how much will this site cost me? A professional designer, depending on where you find it, could be anywhere from $500 to $5,000. You're also going to need to pay for a domain name, which is going to be somewhere between $10 and $20 a year, and you're going to need to pay for a Wix hosting plan. That's going to be anywhere from $12 to $40 a year. And then finally, how will you market this website? How are you going to get people to find your website? Okay, you also need to choose a domain name. You don't have to do this before you get started. You could actually do this later on, but let's just talk about it now. Ideally, your domain name is going to be short and simple, something like google.com, not, hey, this is a really good search engine, and its name is google.com.net. right? Short and simple and memorable is ideal. Now, a lot of domain names have been purchased already. You're not going to get blog.com, but just try to make it as short and simple as possible. You can go to GoDaddy and check if your domain name is available, and generally .com is going to be the easiest for people to remember. Before you actually build your website, you also need to know what your branding is, because this is going to inform the design of the whole website. So you need to have a logo figured out. You can see up in the top right corner, I've got my logo right here. Our colors are blue, 2 shades of blue and red. You need to have a font for your heading and your body text. Sometimes people have one font and it's just bigger and bolder for the heading, that's fine. But figure out what fonts you want to use. Figure out the colors. Again, for us it's blue and red. It can be whatever you want, but just try to have a few colors that match. You don't need 20 colors, you probably need 2 or 3 colors. You need to determine the feel. By feel I mean, what kind of feeling does your brand evoke in the customer? Do you look professional? Do you look fun? Do you look cool? How do you want your brand to be portrayed? What do you want the customer to think about you when they see your brand? A great way to put all these together is to create a mood board. You can do that on Pinterest. You can create a brand kit, put together a document of some kind that help you get a feel for your brand. Here's an example of a brand kit that I created for the website that we're going to build in this course. So we're going to be creating a travel blog, and so I created this Nomadic Caleb logo with a cool little backpack. I've got my heading font and my body font picked out. I've got a color scheme, a color palette picked out, and then the general feel for a travel blog I think should be adventurous and happy and fun and just kind of evoke this good time feeling. This is a one-page brand kit. Some larger companies have much more complicated, complex brand kits. They've got customer personas and brand voice and all this kind of thing. For a small business or a startup, we can start here with a one-page brand kit and work from there. Once you have your brand set, it's time to actually plan out the structure of your website. What's the flow going to be of the pages? What are the pages going to look like? I do this with pen and paper. I just draw out what I want the website to look like very generally, very loosely. This is all completely subjective and open to change, but it gives me an idea of how things are going to look. So this is kind of how I want my website to look. Now here's some really awesome tools you can use to plan out your website. Placeit.net has a logo generator. There's also some other logo generators around on the internet. Wix, depending on the plan you buy, has a logo generator. This website, coolors.co, has a color palette generator that I use all the time. I'll walk you through some of these cool services in a different video that I'll put in the bonus video section. So everything we talked about in this video should help you create a killer website that helps you succeed. Alright, I hope that helped you plan out your website. See you in the next video.